I'm here to announce I'm running for Santa Monica City Council, and I'm here to announce it on Santa Monica Closeup. The reason I decided to run for City Council is because I have a vision. I have a vision to help transform our city into a place where every person, every child, every animal, and every plant that is all part of the ecosystem is cared for with dignity, compassion, and shared responsibility.
What are you going to do the first 3 months in office?
So, the first 3 months in office, I plan on increasing the unused infrastructure areas into used infrastructure areas. For example, underneath all of the power lines, and the power lines are becoming a thing of the past, and also the roads with flying cars. And I'm creating all of, like, along the side of the roads is unused infrastructure, and under the power lines is unused infrastructure. I'm planting biodiversified food forests. So this will help to bring shade and beauty. And I had a really neat message that I was going to read to you before I got into like the timeline and all that.
Okay.
Because the reason I was going to run for city council is I started to So I started to create proposals to try and save my gardens, and my gardens were getting bulldozed. So I was creating these proposals, and the one that I'm creating is actually for Venice Beach. It's not for Santa Monica. I don't live in Santa Monica, so I can't run for the city council there.
For Venice, you mean?
Yeah, but that's where I was preparing these proposals for. And then you get a grant, and then not only are my gardens protected, but now we get money to help fund it, even though I believe in raising willingness and capacity, not votes and money. But so that's what gave me the idea to run for city council. So my platform is rooted in community care over punishment, housing as a human right, regenerative relationships with land and life, and interdependence over isolation. So I could go into what that means, but I mean, you guys could probably get an idea, because this encompasses a lot of the big things that we talk about, like incarceration and mental health. And
maybe we could talk about homelessness, since that's a big issue here at Santa Monica.
Yeah, housing as a human right is part of my platform. And the Community Garden and Urban Regeneration Initiative is what I have planned for the city of Santa Monica. And it's where community members come together locally and they take care of the grounds in their areas. So the arborists may still come in, but the plan is to slowly replace them with willing community members instead of paid workers. And what that looks like is we start healing the land, feeding the people, and reweaving the community. And sort of like, you can think of like a 12-step program, a fellowship program. It's rooted in unconditional belonging. You can never get kicked out. There's no dues or fees, no governors or leaders, no rules or laws. It could be for anything. 12 steps could be for anything. I only mention it because it's had no controversy or scandal, and it's been working for 8 years. So if it's working, so my signature initiative is a citywide network of regenerative gardens, food forests, and healing garden spaces, and fellowships that gather weekly in each community. This will also, there's a lot of people with food scarcity and nutrient deficiency, people who have money, but then they choose to get the cheaper food, or none of that will happen. Now people can just go to these spaces, they'll be able to eat, and people will gather and cook. So it includes transforming vacant lots, medians, underused spaces into community gardens, creating food forests with fruits, vegetables, herbs, and native plants, integrating water features and habitats with our current water features that we already have, such as the LA River, the hot springs in Brentwood. There's all kinds of water sources all over LA, and we're also going to create even more habitats, and we're going to have urban wildlife is going to be a big part of my campaign. Instead of destroying micro ecosystems, we create more. Things like cutting the grass, destroys the micro ecosystem underneath. So we're going to be building community stewardship and programs where residents co-care for land. And we'll be installing rainwater capture systems, sustainable irrigation, and you know how much I love compost. So composting toilets is a really big part of my campaign with the Healing the Earth. And why it matters is because it addresses food scarcity, provides mental health and healing spaces, reduces urban heat and pollution, gives us better air quality, and it strengthens our community connection and safety, and it also creates green jobs and youth programs. So the vision is, imagine walking through Santa Monica and seeing lush, edible landscaping. This is an identifiable universal need that can be named. It's called grazing. So we were going to bat for our universal needs where neighbors gather, children learn, and life flourishes. So we want housing that supports families and stability. So I'm advocating for family accessible policies and with individuals who are experiencing housing scarcity. I've talked to you about my design for the grocery carts. So I'm going to bring in my grocery cart as housing. A lot of people are like, we can't just people sleeping on the ground would be happy to be off the ground, and they'll be happy to have privacy.
Do you want to talk about that on this video?
Yeah, it's pretty important. So here's the design. You imagine a Costco grocery cart, wider, longer, 3.5 by 7 feet. And then it stays low. The city has code for that. Top rack, it's been lengthened and widened. There's a plastic metal cover. Boom. The stuff is now protected and off the ground. This solves the problem of city workers throwing away people's stuff. The next problem is getting people off the ground. There's a yoga mat or some kind of bedding underneath on the bottom rack. There's a curtain that goes around. On the handlebars, so now they've got their stuff protected. They're protected while they're asleep. And now we've got compost. So we've got 3 buckets that fit on the platform underneath. So it's 3.5 feet. 1, 2, 3 buckets. One of them has a toilet seat. 2 have dirt. And one with the toilet seat is empty. You put the dirt underneath, go to the bathroom, bury it. It eliminates smell. It eliminates disease. We don't have to be spraying toxic chemicals on the sidewalk. We could just have a clean planet and not make it filthy and disease infested and have to spray deathly chemicals. Instead, we just keep it clean. So the compost toilets are here, but they also need a changing room and privacy to go to the bathroom. That's why the handlebars have a pop-out changing room. And it pops out. Now they have privacy. They could go to the bathroom. They could do number 2. What happens if the compost gets filled? Well, they take off the toilet seat lid off one of these 5-gallon buckets. Then they unscrew the other lid, screw it on this bucket. So now it's screwed and secured, and the toilet seat lid, boom, goes on this bucket that's now empty because all of the dirt in here went to fill that one. So then they will have stations all over. We really need to be thinking about things like composting because our soil filtrated water is really good for our skin. There's nutrients and minerals that are essential. Now we know this. 100 years ago, 200 years ago, doctors didn't know to wash their hands. People were getting sick because doctors were operating with filthy hands. So we didn't know, now we know. So housing, so I want to advocate for family accessible housing policies also, not just these grocery carts, but I want housing to be more accessible and expand pathways for people in transitional housing to move into stable long-term housing so they're not stuck in the grocery cart or the homeless shelter. And the way that we need to do this is by giving policies like allowing them to leave, having places where they can drop their pet off, because homeless shelters don't let you leave your pet. If you're living in a grocery cart, where are you going to leave your pet? So places where they can drop off their pet. Right now, California is really good about that. We already take care of the health care of the animals, and we take really good care of the homeless people's pets. But we're not doing so good with the boarding, and pets are like children. So we take care of children daycare. We should be taking care of pet daycare because homeless people got to go do stuff. We can't take your pets everywhere. It keeps people locked into homelessness. So we have to expand these pathways for people by giving them more resources and not making it more difficult for the most vulnerable population. We want to ensure housing policies reflect real human needs. And a human need is to not move every week, to not have to move. It's a lot of resources to move people, and it's not that many resources to make someone a home. And if you keep collecting rent every month after they've already gotten a home, you only got to give them a home once. Why you got to keep collecting rent every month? And you know, we're starting to see that not everyone is willing to do money, but it's our birthright to have our basic needs, shelter, food. So for people who are not willing to work, we can't force them. And we gotta come to the understanding that we gotta create a world for everyone. Not everyone wanna do a rat race. And I'm one of those people that love to give. And it's gonna be difficult for me because I've been living without money a long time. So I'm gonna be able to speak for the vulnerable population. That's a big part of my campaign, is I'm the voice of the homeless and the vulnerable and those who are a really big discussion topic in California. So another big part of my platform is a call to love, not just 911, a call to love, community-based safety and care systems. We're going to develop a pilot for community response. And this is going to happen in the first couple months that I'm elected. And this network will be trained local responders supporting us first, and then when we figure out, like, well, how do we help people? Because we'll find out that there are a lot of universal needs that go through the cracks. So someone might call 911 for all sorts of things. Like, they don't address panic attacks. They don't address someone abusing you with the language. There's certain things that when it's bad enough, they just separate you and give a consequence. But what about giving resources? So my campaign's going to address all of that. And we're going to address the mental health crisis, the domestic violence crisis, and the nonviolent emergency crisis of ignoration. And that means you ignore. Ignoration's a new word. We're going to reduce our reliance on policing while increasing real care, de-escalation, and connection. Think of an Uber app, right? You need a ride, except now you type in what you need. You might need a ride. You might need food. You might need empathy. You might need a place to stay tonight. You might have nowhere to even stay and no clean clothes. Who knows? You just type in your need, and then you can video chat with someone while someone's on their way. We will always send someone out no matter what, because you wouldn't have called a call to love unless you needed us. So I'm sure we could help with something. And it won't be like 911 where it's like, oh, don't come, it's not an emergency. No, you called. You're gonna get the love. Every call to love gets answered. And people won't be scared when they know it's based off real care, de-escalation, and connection. So then a big part of my platform, aside from a call to love, is mental health and healing access. I want to expand trauma-informed community-based care. Santa Monica is already really good with that. Our police and everyone's really compassionate, but we need even more awareness. We want to increase access to preventative care and not just crisis response. And I have 2 more points, or 3 more, we're almost done. So the next is youth, families, and future generations. I want to create safe, enriching spaces for youth, and the gardens and the water spaces are going to be great for our mental health too. I want to expand access to nature-based education through the gardens and supporting working families with childcare and community networks. I'm pretty sure that once we start working on these projects and including nature and other life, we'll see that we're just here to take care of all of life. We just came here to just love each other. And next, I want to address the climate and ecological leadership. And the climate and ecological leadership means, like, who are the leaders in the new world? Because we're going to have a new high-tech heaven on earth. It's not about like, oh, this is bad. We know what we're doing is not working. So what's the new way forward? And I want to put people in positions and create positions of ecological leadership so that there's urban ecological restoration, and we'll have people who are devoted to help protecting the gray wolves and what are other native species, the beavers. We'll start the beaver and otter campaign to bring them back to the beaches. Imagine if 2026 there's gardens everywhere and otters and beavers and we're all snuggling. So because for some reason California has to tag everything, and we only have 6 gray wolves and 1 of them died, so now there's 5. A female gray wolf who was very young, of childbirthing age, died because she stressed herself to death when she was getting collared. So it's not a computer chip they're using, they're collaring. So This is a little bit too much. It's loving that we want the gray wolves and we're helping them, we want to collar them, but we're going to be addressing this in the campaign to create safe ways to interact and co-live with wildlife. And my campaign's going to be big on transparency, participatory governance, and no more secrets, no more lies, like complete transparency. We make mistakes too. The government is a moving and breathing and evolving living being just like us, and it's our creation. So either we get rid of it or we love it up and we make it a part of us and we make it our responsibility to make it better. So I'm going to be holding more regular town halls and listening sessions, more socials, create accessible ways for residents to shape policy. And I want to hear what you guys want, because you've got your own little nook and your own little niche, and it's about taking care of each other. So in closing, this campaign is an invitation to move forward from isolation into community, from separation into togetherness, and much more snuggling. We're going to address the snuggling deficit. And from scarcity into shared abundance, from systems that punish into systems that care. Together we can make Santa Monica the leader in symbiosis with Earth and technology, creating a high-tech heaven on Earth. Let's go. Vote 𝗖𝗢𝗨𝗡 the Venice Healer. So I gotta tell you guys something. After I get elected to the city council, then from there, every 2 years they pick someone out of the city council to be mayor. That's gonna be me. It's a popularity contest. So I will change the title to Queen. And then Queen Daisy, the Venice Healer, will not pillage and conquer. I will love and gold.